Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of the Nerdy Things podcast. I am here again this week with Jules and Tim. Hi, Jules and Tim.
Heyo.
Kevin, Julian.
Usually do a pause. Yeah.
And then we have Alex joining us, who is Jules' friend, who is there to back up Jules, because our main topic this week
I don't need backup. I just brought him in because I thought it was fun.
Voltron versus Power Rangers.
It's because Jules needed another person to defeat me in a potential argument.
That's exactly
Well, I mean, if it's
it.
Power Rangers versus Voltron, it's all about camaraderie and teamwork, you know?
Is it, though?
Within the Voltron force against... Well, anyway, let's save it.
All right.
Yeah. So what is Tim in this sort of like limbo now? Because now we have another guest. So is he like a host now, or like
Tim is host? Tim is third host. He's been bumped up. He's now top billing, second only to me and you.
Did you have him do
What a great promotion! I'm really feeling
right. I know, you're right up there.
Did he have to like do something crazy to become a host?
Yeah, there were many hoops he had to jump through. He had to explain a bunch of promotions at work. It was it's quite daunting.
It was literal hoops.
All right.
I mean,
literal.
I was just running around, jumping through hoops for a couple weeks at a time.
And one of them was tiny. I don't know how you made it through that. I mean, it's.
We'll have pictures of that on our social media and all that. So one thing I wanted to get to right at the top is thank you to everybody that has gotten to us on social media at Nerdy Things Pod, at Nerdy Things POD on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we asked a question on Twitter, what's your favorite book turned movie? And we have the pod couple said Lord of the Rings and Walking Dead, which is a graphic novel turned TV. Nation of Nerds also said Lord of the Rings, and he really liked The Green Mile. And we had at Sam Antonio said Fight Club, and if they make a movie, or when they make a movie, of Rant from Chuck P, that he's going to choose that one as his favorite book turned movie. So thank you to everybody that responded to us on social media.
Yeah, thanks.
Very nice.
So I think we wanted to get into some trailers. There was a ton of trailers here this past week for nerdy stuff. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trailers that launched this week.
Yeah, hands down, my favorite was Spider-Man.
Spider-Man was cool.
I loved the Spider-Man trailer.
Agreed.
I cannot wait for the Spider-Man movie. I think this is going to be the best Spider-Man movie we have ever seen.
Since Tobey Maguire, right?
It's it's Andrew Garfield, but
Toby Garfield.
I prefer Garfield.
Tobey Maguire. Come on. He's my Spider-Man.
No, he's nobody's Spider-Man. Your age is showing, Jules.
He was 30 playing like a high school student.
That's okay.
I'd rather have a high school student playing a high school student, or at least close to it, you know. Mm-hmm. But I do think that this should be amazing. It's got money behind it, and it's got Marvel behind it.
Amazing.
I'm in.
Spider-Man.
100% on board. Spectacular.
So we had as well the It trailer, the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer, Justice League. We had some new information about Jumanji, the next movie.
Yep.
I think they just said something about Santa Clarita Diet, which is getting another season. They had like a little video. And then this movie that I'm really excited for, it looks amazing, called Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets, which is I think based off a book as well.
Yeah, that's
that just looked beautiful.
Luc Besson is the director of that one. He's from Fifth Element.
Yeah. I've seen a couple trailers for that in the past too. It looks very intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was just like blown away. I think I posted it on the Facebook, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this looks beautiful!" Super in the same vein as Fifth Element, and it just I don't know. Cara Delevingne doesn't. It's not bad either.
Fifth Element is completely an amazing movie. So if it's in that vein, but even with the capability of modern visuals like we have now, I mean, it could be very impressive.
It's an amazing movie, and it's got some good acting and some amazing visuals, but I just don't know that the story makes any sense, and I really don't want another story like that. I mean, if we get it at work, I'm definitely going to sneak in and see it, but I don't know. I think I'd otherwise wait for it to come out on VHS and watch it that way.
Yeah, VHS?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I figured your age was showing.
Your
Jules.
age is showing. Yeah, I was going to say that.
No, but the story can still be good and not be perfect.
Well, I don't think the story is bad in Fifth Element. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was an entertaining movie, and it was visually spectacular, and it had the blue singing thing, which was one of the coolest movie scenes I can recall, actually.
Right, but you do know that the hero and the villain never meet in Fifth Element, right?
That doesn't
they
matter.
Never once interact.
I thought you said you were a fan of Bruce Willis.
Yeah, Bruce Willis never once interacts with Sirius there.
He's in that movie. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think we're going to move him on that one. So first, we're going to get into some conspiracy theories. I think some people brought some conspiracy theories to the table, and I have some weird ones.
We skipped over the Justice League trailer, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Justice League. Sure. Let's talk about it.
It's a DC movie, so it's probably going to be bad, but the trailer's awesome. I mean, come on, the trailer's freaking awesome. They've done the best job of creating trailers with the great movie music of the 60s and 70s. I mean, when they had Bohemian Rhapsody on Suicide Squad, how awesome was that trailer? I'm not saying the movie was great, but how awesome was that trailer? It was incredible.
No, it was pretty good. I mean, they're stealing that from Guardians of the Galaxy. They're really trying to hype you up with what we all agree is really good music on what is going to be a mediocre movie. We've, I'm sure, seen most of the really good visuals in the trailers at this point, because we still have, 19 months before this movie comes out? I realize it's not that long, but it certainly fucking feels like it, because we get so many trailers for every DC movie that I've seen every second of the movie before it comes out.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And I think the what they did with not showing Superman for right now, I think that's okay. Holding off on it. I mean, whatever.
Superman's dead, though.
We legitimately have 5 months before this movie comes out. They are going to show that Superman is in this movie.
Wait, Superman's dead. You guys saw that last movie, right?
I did. It's also, there's two responses I have for that. One, it's a comic book movie. He's definitely not dead. And two, it's DC. They're definitely not going to kill off the only thing that brings them any money.
He's dead. I don't think he's as strong as the girl from Kill Bill. I don't think he'll get out of that grave.
He will with his karate.
He's doing his 1-inch punch.
His big toe. Yeah, there you go.
There's no way he can Kill Bill it.
Alex, which trailer did you like, or which ones did you think? We haven't talked about the It one, the Spider-Man, Justice League. Which one was your?
I was a big fan of the Spider-Man one.
My favorite trailer was the Justice League one, but I think the Spider-Man movie is the most excited one.
Yeah.
Like you said with DC movies, I feel like the trailers are 90% of the good parts of the movie, and it's just it just creates so much hype, and then you get to there and you're like, I've already seen this. I want to see something new.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like when you see a comedy and they put every punchline in the trailers.
Yeah.
Which guys, if you're if you've been on social media, Adam Sandler's coming out with a new Netflix movie. Everyone get excited for that.
Oh, it'll give me a chance to downvote something.
Oh, silence. All right.
Yeah.
What's his name? Harry Wetzel or something like that?
Yeah, Andy Wexler or something. Handy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Great.
Netflix is pushing that hard, though.
Yeah.
He's pretty much just doing a Jewish stereotype now, right? That's where he's gone to.
Yeah, I think that's his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Sandler was one of my favorite people, and now I just feel bad at this point.
Yeah, he's pretty much always been the Jewish stereotype.
Yeah, but he's just playing that character now.
People used to go, he used to get all his friends to show up on his movie, and now he's that guy that just kind of shows up, and it's just kind of he's still the main character, but you're it's like Rob Schneider in The Animal.
Yeah.
I get you're famous, but
No, I know you're not there to see Adam Sandler. You're there to see whoever he can bring in on that film.
I think he's at a point right now where he's I made some good movies. I'm really rich. I think my only purpose in life right now is to support my current wealth and the wealth of my friends. So I'm going to make the laziest movies possible for the most money that anybody will pay me for them. And we're all going to be good.
Well, I think what I read was Netflix. I don't know if it's a rumor or not or whatever, but I think Netflix is paying him for a 6-movie sort of deal thing.
The Ridiculous
and it's
Six, the Do-Over. Was it the Do-Over? Something like that. There's a bunch of them in there. I'm actually watching The Ridiculous Six right now. I mean, I have been for a year and a half since it came out, but I'm still in the middle of it.
1 minute at a time.
Yeah.
It was a huge deal. I don't know if you, because it's been a few years now, but when Netflix signed him to a multi-movie contract, they had been very successful with the TV shows and were winning, Emmys and all that kind of stuff. And their next step was to try and get into movies. And they're like, well, who's the biggest movie star we can pay a bunch of money to? And I think that's when Adam Sandler decided, all right, I'm just going to support my family now. Basically, he's like a rapper supporting his entourage, but in the most lazy way possible. He's like, they don't even have to be good. They're paying me to make these movies. It's like I have a contract in 1942 to make Stooges flicks.
There you go.
They paid me for a 7-picture contract, and I'm gonna make them.
He does do really well overseas, though. Everybody that's not in the United States or North America,
like in making money or in making movies.
I guess in watching his movies on Netflix. I don't know if you. I read a while back that once they put an Adam Sandler movie on Netflix, it skyrockets overseas. Everybody's watching it and all.
Oh
that.
Yeah, he still has a massive appeal, no question about it.
He's got to have David Hasselhoff come on guest star in the next movie then, because the same thing with the Hoff. Have him do the soundtrack.
Get the Germans on board.
There you go. Absolutely.
Very cool. So that trailer, it was all right.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
I've never seen the original. I am still scared of clowns.
Whoa.
And
the same.
I don't want to see this movie, but I'm definitely going to.
You do a nerdy podcast. You got to see it.
Oh, well, my wife drags me to all the horror movies, so we're definitely going to see this one. We saw Life last night. That was a good sci-fi horror movie.
Oh, how was that?
That was actually pretty spectacular. I would definitely recommend that if you have any inclination towards sci-fi horror, or you just don't want to ever sleep again.
Oh, so it's scary.
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Ryan Reynolds is in this movie, right?
Was it Ryan Gosling? I think it was Ryan.
Yeah, right. We always get them confused.
One of the Ryans. Yeah. Ryan Gosling was in it. Someone that looked just like Jodie Foster, and then I don't even know who else. But yeah, really, I'd highly recommend it. I'm not going to spoil it, despite what we were just talking about spoiling all movies. But definitely see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw the cast and I expected it to be more of a dramatic, but in the end, feel-good movie, like more like an Armageddon.
Yeah.
But now I'm even more intrigued about it.
No, it had Jake Gyllenhaal, and who's the other one? I'm trying to think. Was it? It doesn't matter. But yeah, really worth seeing.
Cool.
Very cool. So, do you want to get into one of our topics for the week? So,
Absolutely.
let's have Kevin. I don't know, because Kevin, you've been pushing this conspiracy theory thing for a while, and I kind of want to hear what your idea of a conspiracy theory is, because I tried looking up some conspiracy theories, and I got a whole bunch of fan theories, I think, and I don't know if they're actually conspiracy theories, but those are mine. So yeah, I don't know if you want to start. I am someone that is absolutely fascinated by the idea of conspiracy theories.
There's a guy at work, we've talked about Chris before, who is someone who buys into a lot of these quote-unquote conspiracy theories. And to certain people, these are truth. Like, we haven't gone to the moon, and that the moon landing was staged and filmed on a recording studio by someone, and they have all this evidence that backs it up, that is either, in some cases, patently false, fabricated, or just willfully ignoring any sort of evidence. But still, the idea that something like that could be true just fascinates me. Like, I think that if we could do that's even, like, if we could fake the moon landing, that's an even greater feat than actually going to the moon. And I just don't have enough faith in humanity, or in the government, or in just people, that's true. I think that we really did go to the moon, but I'm still fascinated by the thought that the government is controlled by lizard people, and that aliens are real, and that
The lizard people live in the subways in New York City, right? That is that conspiracy theory.
no, that's Spider-Man. You're thinking of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie.
Right. Confused.
But no, I just think that that's absolutely fascinating to have this sort of broad conspiracy, and when you look into it, there's all this evidence that supports it, and that if you don't, normal people don't have the ability to investigate this on their own. And so you have to take it on faith. And I am taking on faith what is truth anyway. So really, what's the difference between what I know to be true and what someone else knows to be true when one of them is absolutely wrong and I can't prove to you which one it is?
The thing is, where does the, I'm putting up air quotes right now, evidence come from? Because the only people who has evidence for most of these conspiracy theories is conspiracy theory websites.
Right.
I mean,
They're the people that know.
You know what I mean? Like,
They know.
who are we trusting
But
here?
they're the
with
only
this
ones
information.
playing devil's advocate here, Tim. They're the only ones willing to put out the truth.
The truth.
The truth. Well, yes.
The
I mean,
truth,
everyone
yeah.
else
Air quotes.
is just.
I love it though, because that's the way they all say
Yes.
it. It's like, this is the truth. You guys are ignorant to the truth.
Yes.
In the same way that Breitbart thinks we're all ignorant to the truth as well. It's a very similar kind of thing. You know what I mean?
And in a lot of cases,
Yeah.
I think that, quite frankly, these conspiracy theories lack the ability to stand up to critical thinking and just general reasoning. And I think that with a little bit of work and a little bit of true open communication, you can shine some light on them. But at the same time, there's some stuff that's just weird and wacky. And the weird and wacky ones are what really draw me in. The one I picked to talk about today that has been fascinating me for a couple of weeks since I found it online is that Eminem, the rapper, died in 2006.
it's very possible.
I've never heard
He's
of
dead.
that
He
personally.
was replaced by a body double after he overdosed on sleeping pills. And the body double that they have, I'll actually put the website that I'm getting this from, but there's pictures that show that his bone structure changed and his ear shape is different, and all this stuff
wow.
that, like, his music changed after 2005, after 2006, because it used to be about his ex-wife Kim, and then it became about being a thug, and like that was the new guy, and the record label writing the music and sort of taking over for him to continue on the popularity that had come about from Eminem reaching that point. And they wanted to make him even more popular before killing him off and making even more money from him.
It's true.
I mean, there was a lot of Slim Shadys, if you remember. So I mean, it might be
Yeah.
pretty easy to.
So
It's all
should we
true.
Just play
It's really
the song
true.
with a real Slim Shady.
Yeah.
Please stand up, and like if he stands up,
That's
is that, like,
well.
the
This
test?
that's
Yeah.
actually some of the evidence for it was that they were doing a tongue-in-cheek, like,
He didn't
admitting
stand up?
that this had happened, type of thing. You know, I absolutely the weirdest conspiracy theory I have ever heard of.
You want to know the weirdest one that I've heard of recently? And it's not the weirdest theory. It's just the fact that these people are jumping on board with this. Like, I've heard about flat earthers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ugh.
And
I'm saying
I
the
always
same
just
thing.
ignore it because I'm like, it's just probably some, religious zealots that are, crazy and whatnot that don't know how to read critically and all that kind of stuff. But apparently there is a growing faction of the National Basketball Association who believes that
Yep.
the earth is flat. These people who fly across the country and the world believe that the earth is flat.
Wow.
It started with Kyrie Irving, apparently. Who,
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
anybody
Kyrie
follows
Irving
sports,
said it.
Kyrie Irving's like, borderline, finals MVP last year, thinks the earth is flat. And no, recently Shaquille O'Neal, I don't care if you're a sports fan or not, you know who Shaquille O'Neal is. Shaq came out and talked about how he knows the earth is flat. This is a man who played in China.
Oh,
But
boy.
he says there's no way that China can be below us. He says it's just not possible. He says, and I've driven from Atlanta to the West Coast, and I wasn't on any 360-degree angles.
Oh my God.
How would I? He was going on about it. They believe
Maybe somebody
this.
needs to explain it needs to explain it to him in a way that they might understand. Like you throw the ball into the hoop, and what brings it down into the actual net is called gravity.
But the flat Earth
kind
is
of a thing.
hovering over the event horizon of a black hole, so all of the gravity is pulling everything to that disk, that flat surface of the Earth. Jules.
Oh, okay, that's what that is.
Yeah, I honestly just like dismissed this like immediately because it goes against everything that I ever knew. But like I actually didn't know the science that they had behind it. But
the quote unquote science.
Yeah. You're intrigued now, aren't you? You're gonna look into this.
A little bit. I just want to know. I just want to know the arguments for it. I mean,
I just want to know the truth.
But here's
really.
this is
I'm
kind of my
looking
point,
for.
and this is why it's fascinating. Is what would your evidence be if you were trying to convince me? What would your evidence be that the Earth is round?
That I can see that the Earth is round.
The Earth has hills. Yes, you're seeing that.
There's an end.
No.
Look out on the ocean.
Look, I can't see that far. My eyes aren't that good, Tim.
You can't. Well, get some glasses, and then you'll see.
But like this is the thing: is they double down. So if you say, "Well, I have pictures of the Earth from space," well, we never actually went to space. That was all on a recording studio in Irvine, California.
Exactly.
But you've flown from one part to the other. Like you've seen it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think our audience is flat Earth believers.
Well, I remember about like a year ago, B.O.B., the rapper, came out with this, and I think that's where it kind of like picked up traction because then Neil deGrasse Tyson, I think, came out with a rap or something that saying that the world is in fact round and like said science stuff. Did his Tyson
I'm
stuff.
definitely gonna have to find that and listen to it because I love Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, I think he tweeted about it like a while back.
Yeah,
B.O.B. was like, "Yeah, there's flat, whatever," and then he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna have to come out of retirement and say,
something like
say
that.
some stuff." Oh man,
it didn't feature Bill Nye though, unfortunately.
That's too bad. I love his bow ties. Fascinating guy.
Oh yeah, you're like a bow tie connoisseur, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring the bow ties
Bill
back.
Nye, the science guy.
Bill. I know.
So yeah, I think I have a bunch of fan theories then. I mean, all that stuff was kind of like downers and like I just liked all this other stuff. So I'm going to lighten it up.
I don't know. I think it's really, it energized me to think that Eminem died in 2005, 2006. But hey,
I know, but the whole flat earth thing that just put a damper on my whole day. There's people that I'm living with. There's people along this earth in the city somewhere that believe that.
True.
And I'm just like,
With
you
all-
want to
with
hear
all-
crazy like a
With all respect, though, they didn't go to college to learn. They went to college to play basketball. So, they haven't spent a whole lot of their life thinking about the facts of stuff. You know what I mean? It's not really their thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of give them a pass on that one.
yeah.
Don't be too depressed.
I think Kyrie Irving went to Duke either way. Like, I mean, he still had to have something to get there.
Yeah, no, not really.
it's really good jump shot.
I'm staying out of the sports side of this. It's not my game.
Yeah, that's true. He got handles.
Cool. So, in SpongeBob, there's two that are pretty cool. There's a fan theory that all of the characters are one of the 7 deadly sins. Patrick is sloth, Squidward is wrath, Mr. Krabs is greed, Plankton is envy, Gary is gluttony, Sandy is pride because she loves Texas, and SpongeBob is lust. There's another one with SpongeBob because I don't know why I was on the SpongeBob thing. That SpongeBob has, they have mental disorders, or they representations of mental disorders. SpongeBob with ADHD, Patrick is different sorts of eating disorders. Squidward has OCD, Sandy is narcissistic, Mr. Krabs has impulsive and obsessive fixations, Plankton has depression, and Gary is various anxiety disorders as well.
You're right, Jules. That was very uplifting.
It's SpongeBob. I'm thinking about SpongeBob.
No, and the best part,
But thinking about how my characters are messed
the
up.
best part about that is those aren't mutually exclusive, and I do believe they are both true. Like they do represent all of that stuff because that is the weirdest show on television at every
very
point
weird
of the way.
If you look up like SpongeBob creepypastas, there's some really good ones about
thank you.
Lost videos or whatever, and it's really interesting.
I don't need that.
So that's one of them that I got because yeah, I mean, I don't know if we can. Yeah, you said you agree. I really do think that they kind of put these kind of embodiments into these characters, and yeah, fan theory, not so much conspiracy.
So, a couple of conspiracy theories. One would be that Katy Perry is actually JonBenet Ramsey.
Ooh.
That I actually think that's possible. I know that it's true that Tupac and Elvis lived together in the woods. I'm like 100% certain of
that's
that
true.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Didn't they have a pet Yeti or Sasquatch
Yes.
with them? Yeah.
Well, not so much a pet because he's near human intellect, but more like a simpleton friend.
Ah, fantastic.
But here's one. We're going to post this on the website. I just found this, so I have like no way to verify this. But I see this picture of this woman who, her name is Zena LaVey. Zena LaVey is the daughter of the founder of the Church of Satan and was the church's high priestess between 1985 and 1990. Now, I'm looking at a picture of her, and if she isn't Taylor Swift, I'm shocked. Like,
Taylor Swift is a vampire.
the theory is that she either is Taylor Swift and she reversed aged herself, or that she's a clone or the daughter of this woman. But dude, we're gonna put this up on the Facebook and Twitter and all of the nerdy pod things, because this has to be real. Like, you have to see this. They are the same person.
That's amazing.
Wow, I got to see this.
She does look so much like Taylor Swift.
You see it?
I see it. I googled it immediately. Yeah, she is definitely Taylor Swift is
so
this
it's a
woman's
thing.
clone.
You can just Google it.
I think I'm really actually into this conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
I've always gotten weird vibes from Taylor Swift. I've been very anti-Taylor Swift over the years. Anybody who knows me probably knows this. I've always gotten weird Taylor Swift vibes, and now I totally understand why.
That's amazing.
Okay, so use the hashtag Taylor Swift vibes and tell us your horrible Taylor Swift story.
Tell us that time Taylor Swift was a jerk to you.
Guys, this is how we finally
Taylor
get
Swift
trending
There you go.
on social media. This is it.
Yeah,
We found it.
Just go for a celebrity.
Yeah. Go for the
Taylor
jugular.
Swift.
The takedown of Taylor Swift by the podcast that has about 20 listeners.
That's amazing.
We can do it. We got it.
I also heard this other weird conspiracy theory once, that the movie Hook wasn't good. It's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Oh boy.
No, I believe in that one. I
wonder who
actually,
said that. Yeah.
I'm a founder of the Church of Hook Sucks. So
Yeah, me and Kevin started before you got
Yeah.
on the podcast. We didn't mention it because
Anyways, Voltron versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
So, yes, the main topic this week, we're going to be talking about TV shows from our childhood. Originally from Japan, dubbed for an American audience, a group of feisty teens dress up in bright colors, ride around in giant robots to fight monsters from space. When the monsters get too tough, they combine to form a powerful robot. That's right, we're talking about... Which one? Is it Voltron or Power Rangers? I forgot.
You're talking about Voltron because it sounded really cool.
They're the same goddamn show.
They're not the same show.
Well, okay. I wanna talk about the Power Rangers movie first, because most of us have seen it, not including Tim, and he said it's okay if we talk about it. I have a few things maybe we can talk about in the Power Rangers movie.
Sure.
First,
Let's get it started.
I don't think it's gonna be too spoilery. If you don't want to hear anything about Power Rangers, skip over to, I don't know, a couple minutes from now, and just Tim or Kevin will put the timestamp when we stop. But just making more work for him. But so Yellow Ranger Trini. First thing I want to talk about is that everybody made a fuss about her being sexually ambiguous. You don't really know what she's into, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. They had literally they had like half a sentence regarding it, and maybe some looks that she made to Kimberly. Maybe those can be considered looks, but like, who cares really? And they made so much of a fuss about her sexuality, but they didn't even say anything about the goddamn Blue Ranger. How cool was that? How cool was that he was on the spectrum, and that he was a Power Ranger?
I thought that was awesome.
I mean, yeah, and nobody cared. Nobody gave a fuck about that in their reviews or anything really. And he's like sort of the whole thing that kind of ties the story together. and
he was a fantastic character.
The character that felt most like Power Rangers, because he was having a good time. He was like so about working as a team, getting these cool new superpowers.
He finally had friends. That was what it was, and I loved that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like nobody really said anything about it, and everyone was just worried about her sexuality. They even gave it like the highest, the highest rating so that you can't see it, I think in Russia or something like that.
And it wasn't even a part of the movie. Like the producers came out and said that she was gay, and it didn't affect the story in any way. I don't care. Like, that's fine. I wish they had actually made it more of a big deal in the movie. I wish they had explicitly come out and said something rather than leave it, because it is ambiguous. It's definitely there, but it's so ambiguous it could go either way. I just, make it part of her character or don't. Commit to something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I personally, I like what they did with the Blue Ranger, but if they were going to make a character gay, I would have liked to see Billy be the one that was gay, just out of respect. Out of respect for the first Blue Ranger. I think his name is David Yost.
Yeah.
He was like ridiculed while he was on the set of the show. That eventually made him leave. So just out of respect for the character.
Now, see, I'd be afraid that would hit too close to home for him. Because after he left the show because of bullying mid-season, he actually checked himself into one of those pray the gay away camps. And I think that if they had done the Blue Ranger and made the Blue Ranger gay, it might have set something off in him. So I understand that. Like, I respect that.
Yeah. That's very true. Very true.
Yeah. So what it was, what me and Alex were talking about it before the podcast, that it was definitely an adult movie. I mean, the first like scene, they had the first joke really was him, the Red Ranger talking to his friend or whatever about milking a male cow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it was just like
jokes were like, "Oh, that's why I needed two hands to."
Yeah, it was just like, oh boy.
Yeah, it definitely started off on an adult tone. It goes into a violent car crash, but there were plenty of kids in the theater when I saw it, and the kids behind me were bored.
There were so many kids, right? It was definitely a older teen adult film, and adult take, and it does sort of deal with all that stuff that just like teenagers are going through, quote unquote. I guess they're a little older, but like the actors and actresses, they're a little older, but yeah, teens, quote unquote, that they're going through, and all the they kind of pitch them as sort of not so great people, or making they're good people, they're just making not so good decisions and choices, and they're trying to figure themselves out, and it's very real. Like I mean, it does definitely take place in 2017.
Well, then that was a foolish mistake on their part, because this movie is based on a TV show that is geared around babies. And there's no way they should have taken that in an adult direction, because they dress up in ballerina ninja costumes and fight choreographed fight scenes against robot rubber villains, and that's for babies, and that's why this whole series is terrible.
Whoa, I mean, I was talking to Kevin and Alex here. I don't know where you came from, but you can leave that hate.
I could hold my tongue no longer.
I must say,
ripped off a superior 1980s cartoon that was so awesome that it had to be actually edited down because there was so much adult content into it, so that a child could actually potentially watch it. And they ripped it off. They made it into a live action, Barney the Dinosaur-esque Teenage Mutant Ninja Mighty Morphin Baby Rangers, and then all of a sudden they have a movie and Voltron doesn't have a movie, when Voltron is clearly the superior story.
They got a new Netflix show.
I think they're actually coming out with the live action movie. Like, it's been talked about after the success of the Netflix.
It's been talked about for 15 years and it's never been made, but somehow this Mighty Morphin Baby Rangers gets put on the big screen, and I'm sitting here waiting for Voltron since I was...
Power Rangers has 24 seasons, homie.
Like, just
24 seasons.
I have 24 seasons of crap sitting in a septic tank in my backyard, but we don't make a movie about it.
Okay, Tim, you definitely
We could.
need to call
I got a
someone and
video
have
too.
that septic tank drained. That is not healthy.
Yeah, that's
I
not
figured
good
if
for
I
me.
leave the crap there long enough, they'll make a movie about it. 'Cause apparently that's what happens.
Yes.
You make 24 seasons of crap, and all of a sudden they go, well, let's put it on the big screen.
Yeah, but that movie is going to star Julia Roberts as Erin Brockovich, and they're definitely going to be like, you're going to be on the hook for plenty of birth defects and a lot of other things from your neighbors. You definitely want to get this looked at now.
Case in point, they already made a movie about the 24 seasons of crap, so that's all you need to do, apparently. You can make one season of great television and then do nothing with it after that, but you make 24 seasons of crap and they turn it into a movie.
Well, I mean, let's be really fair to Power Rangers here. Power Rangers, the original season, was purchased off of a footage of a Japanese show that had already been running for 16 years prior to that.
Yeah.
And it was recycled into the live action thing that it was, while they paid the kids less than minimum wage to act 16 hours a day, 6 days a week.
So they used child labor to expand upon a
To make one of the
Japanese
most
game show
beloved-
where they used to hit people in the balls and the studio audience would laugh, but they somehow turned that into ninja fighting and then used child
Okay.
labor to make us all go buy plastic toys that were made by child labor. This is the legacy of the great Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
I want to close off the tangent line for the Power Rangers movie real quick, and then we'll get into it. Because Tim's already going. He's doing his thing. But Power Rangers, I think, was a good movie for us people that know about Power Rangers and things like that. I don't think it was good for kids. It was interesting and it had some nice moments. But I think, as a whole, the entire movie, it was about a 7 for me. Like, all the way through, there was no really amazing parts for me that kind of was like, whoa, my god, whatever. But it was like a good amount, 7 plus on a scale of 10, like throughout the entire movie. And yeah, I mean, I could say a whole lot more, but we gotta get into it. What did you think about it, Alex?
I thought it was good. Had enough nods to the original show. There was a cameo, Jason David Frank and Emily Jo Johnson. So that was great. Just way too much product placement. Like, Power Rangers became Krispy Kremes, like cheap whore.
Yeah.
It felt like there's just so much.
That should have been
donut
Ernie's
stuff.
donut shop.
So many donuts.
I'm sorry. This is
I was
right.
looking for it. And I couldn't find it.
This is the one time I would love to have a reference to something else in that universe rather than something just thrown in there. Because I'm one of those people that, like, I hate when I go to see the Justice League and all these other movies, and like every little thing is a nod to something else, and this is the high school that so and so goes to, and such is. But this, to change it to Krispy Kreme, just felt disingenuous. It felt like they had sold out completely.
Hint: Power Rangers was created to sell toys.
Definitely. I'm not gonna argue with that one. Yes, I think so. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a good movie. I think people should check it out. And
It was. I think you're right. I think it was about a 7. It was a little slow in the middle. It had some really amazing scenes, and I felt like Heisenberg was the best part of this movie, and I really felt like when they morphed into the giant Megazord at the end, that no one knew that was coming, and I wish we had a little bit more explanation for that. Like the look on
how?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because I mean the pterodactyl Zord was like completely folded in half, like a lawn chair, and then they're just like,
yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
And all of a sudden, it's like they're there, and then the Red Ranger is like, "All right, let's pull out the swords." It's like, how the fuck do you know there's even swords there? And then you just ripped the pterodactyl in half to make these swords.
They're linked in
like
their head.
Avatar.
Yeah, it
like that shitty Voltron.
It felt a little awkward, felt a little stilted, little weird, but visually cool. It didn't look like in the original. It looks like you've got these 5 awkward robots that form this giant awkward robot, and in this, it looked like they just kind of melted and reformed and became something else. So can they not break apart again? I don't know.
Right?
You know, like
They're like, all right, guys, this is it. I mean, they can't morph already by themselves yet.
yeah,
I don't even know if they're gonna put that
Yeah.
in.
So
like they need that morphing grid.
the good
whatever.
news is we have 6 more movies to figure this all out. So that's
They're making more.
they're planning.
Yes, they're making 6. Tim, Jesus, just let it happen.
Only
Oh
6,
my
not 24.
God.
Yeah,
Yeah, they would need one for
6
every season.
now. You know, it's like when they announced 3 new Star Wars movies, and then all of a sudden this week they announced that they have plans for Star Wars movies through 2030.
They're making 6 movies out of a baby's TV show, and you're wondering
All right, let's get
why
into
this
it.
is
Power
a
Rangers.
horror movie. It's a money grab. They're trying to make money. They're trying to make money off you, and they suckered you in. Kevin, you say this movie
And
was
they
a
did.
7 out of 10?
I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Out of 10.
Out of 10.
And what did you grade Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad was a 4.
So you're saying this movie was twice
I'd
as
say
good
5.
as Suicide Squad?
Thereabouts, yeah.
You don't think you're grading this on a curve?
No.
Suicide Squad was too long.
You
There's
just
too many
you just told me things
too
in this movie
much.
that don't even make sense, but you're giving it a 7?
Yep.
I think you're grading on a curve. I think you're grading it because it's a baby show, and you're like, well, for a baby show, it was a 7 out of 10. But let's grade it as an adult movie, in which case it was probably a
an adult movie.
3.5.
It was definitely an
There
adult
was
movie.
death.
There was
destruction. I mean, they killed all the dinosaurs. Like, all of the dinosaurs. That is Zordon's fault.
that was a big kill count, for one movie.
I can't, like, that's pretty heavy. And then the Blue Ranger died in the middle of the fucking
Spoiler.
movie.
Oh boy,
Like,
spoiler alert.
I'm on board. I'll put in the timestamp for anybody that doesn't want to get spoiled. But there's no way that I could not give this good marks based on that. Now, maybe it's not a 7, but I've already said it's a 7, so I'm not backing down from that.
Kevin keeps his
We
word.
learned about this
Yeah.
with Kevin last week. Just like the Slim Jim and the Chex Mix was the greatest meal in the history of humankind.
And I brought that
We're giving
into
this
work,
movie a 7.
and you ate it, and you said, and I quote, that it was edible.
Oh,
Exactly.
I count that as a win.
It was.
I rest my
I
case.
thought it was very edible. But let's see. If I was going to grade it against a baby movie, I would probably give it as a meal an 8 out of 10. But if I'm grading it on an adult scale, it was like a 2.5.
okay. Power Rangers movie. I think the general consensus is 7 out of 10. Pretty good, and all that stuff. Tim doesn't like it. He hasn't seen it, so his opinion doesn't matter. Anyways, Power Rangers versus Voltron. So, I don't know where to start. Where do we start?
One was created for babies. The other one was not.
Okay, he keeps saying that, but
Yeah.
I think
The Voltron one was a better cartoon.
yeah, I guess like as an anime, yeah, it was okay. And then now the new Voltron Legendary Defender on Netflix, season 1 and 2, season 3 coming out later this year.
Is it? That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's coming out later this year. It is a good English anime. I'm not gonna knock that. I've been watching it actually. The Legendary Defender Voltron on Netflix, if you want to see that as well. But I've been watching it, and it's not bad. It is. Playing off of what the older Voltron was and the iterations of it, and it's sort of the same thing, but it is funny and interesting like a good anime. But the only thing is that it's in English, and it looks very good.
Well, now it's interesting that you say like a good anime
Mm-hmm.
because Voltron is the first anime. Voltron is the first time we had Japanese animation brought over to the U.S. and dubbed for U.S. audiences.
I mean,
So
it's anime
it
while it's
sets that
Japanese,
bar.
but yeah, the first English
It
anime.
does.
Yeah.
It sets that bar. So yes, this is the best anime. This is the one that you basically judge everything else against.
There's some better animes, but yes,
So Voltron was an accident to start with, and it kind of like penicillin, it became amazing and essential to our life. So basically, what happened was
a life-saving drug. You're comparing that to okay, keep going.
it was an accident, and it became amazing. That's like penicillin. So basically, what happened was this World Productions movie studio here in the U.S. decided they wanted to import this Japanese TV show that they had seen, and it was what was it called? The original one. They
King
wanted
Go
future
Lion?
robot Daltonius, if I'm even saying that right. But they asked for the one with the lions because nobody in their whole production studio here in the U.S. apparently spoke any Japanese. So they just called them and go, "We want the one with the lions."
kitty cats.
So they sent a different one with the lions. A similar concept. It was still robot lion based, but what happened was they looked at it and they said, "This is even better." It was great animation, great production value. It was really cool. But what they didn't know how to do was speak Japanese, so they had to create their own story around it. It was also really violent. It was also a lot of deaths and stuff like that. So they cut some of that out so that it could be aired on syndicated cartoon television here in the U.S. And it was number one. It was the number one syndicated television program when it first came out for the first 2 years of its run. And they did just a really good job of making something different into something that was appealing here in the U.S. The score was amazing. The Voltron theme song is probably the greatest all-time cartoon theme song
I think me and
ever
Alex are
in the
kind
history of mankind. It makes goosebumps and hair on the back of your neck stand up when you think about the lions turning into Voltron and them roaring and that animation. And it was incredible.
The little cats? Yeah, I have cats too.
Yeah, this cat could eat your cat and poop it out, and it would be Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Once it pooped it out.
I mean, the theme song for Voltron has the voice of Optimus Prime giving you the intro, and then some of the best musical score to just really tug at those heartstrings to make this a fantastic intro to this show.
My biggest complaint about the new cartoon is that they didn't reuse the old music, because the new music is not as good. The old music was fantastic. It's an emotional score, and yeah, the voice of Optimus Prime certainly lends some weight to that. No question about it.
No.
But when they ate things, they ate the cat, they pooped it out, and they pooped out Power Rangers. Power Rangers is a ripoff. There's no way to say this. It's a ripoff.
It's a ripoff of something else.
Voltron.
It's not a ripoff of Voltron. It's a ripoff of another show.
It's kids in robots forming into something different, but it's cheesier because they're in like ballerina ninja costumes and they're flipping around doing cartwheels like a Teletubby. They look like Teletubbies more than they do ninja fighters.
I don't know you got Teletubbies. Teletubbies are fat.
And
they
they're
have a little TV in the
fighting
tummy.
rubber giant rubber beasts. Who even knows what they are? Supposed to be robots, but robots aren't made of rubber. We all know that. And they just ripped it off for the purpose of selling toys. And I resent it, and I've always resented it, and I will continue to resent it until the end of time, or until the live-action Voltron movie comes out and people bow down at its greatness.
All right. That was Tim. That was our new promoted host. I think we're going to bring him back down to guest next week. But
you have no right.
Okay, so I guess I'll start off in saying Voltron, the new Legendary Defender one, is really cool. It has, I don't know if y'all know this, but Steven Yeun as Keith, the Red Paladin. He's voicing from The Walking Dead, Steven Yeun. He's voicing Keith, the Red Paladin, which is pretty cool. And yeah, okay, it's really cool. You probably grew up with the older Voltron, and that was part of like your whole coming of age thing, and that's totally cool. I mean, that's you. But for me and most likely Alex, we were born on this Power Rangers, sort of thing. They've been doing it for over 20 years, 24 seasons, to be exact. I sort of stopped at the season 13 Power Rangers SPD. Now, the multiple iterations throughout the years kept the concept fresh and new while providing an interesting new take or slew of like abilities that they can do. They had 40 or so, 30 maybe episodes every season, and a new theme song, and that was just really cool granted, it was sort of the same process. They do find their powers somehow. They kind of get their Zords. They get upgrades later on, more Zords and stuff. Yes, and I was one of those kids that really wanted all the Megazords, and I got all the Megazords that I could. And yeah, maybe it was just taking my money, but it was really fun for me as a kid because that's where I grew up. I grew up around the same time as when that was coming out, and I was in that age group. And
Right, you liked it because it was made for babies.
I'm not-
and you were a baby
I'm
when
not
it came
gonna lie,
out, and then when you weren't a baby, you didn't like it
is
anymore.
a lot easier to follow a Power Rangers storyline than it is for a Voltron storyline. I wouldn't give my son or whatever a Voltron to watch or anything, but whenever you're watching Power Rangers, it does teach you good life lessons, like friendship, courage, good will prevail all the time, and it's really easy to follow that because it is constantly pushing those concepts during the entire episode, and I think that's okay. Yes, there are different, and I just think it is for two different age groups, not one is better. I don't think they're just for two different age groups, and like I said, Voltron is a good English anime, but for Power Rangers, it does teach sort of those same things that Voltron teaches, but in an easier, more consumable way, and that's why I really like it.
So we're admitting it's for babies.
For younger kids.
And-
you keep saying babies. It's not.
And
for
Voltron
babies.
was
I
at
have
one
won
point as
this
well,
debate
we
because
were
that was my
babies when it
premise
came
in the
out.
beginning, and I just won that because you admitted it.
I'm
I
just
will
saying
now
it's for a different age
retire.
group. Yes, maybe if you would have grown up with Power Rangers, you would be on the other side. You would be over here in Texas doing this thing. But
I'm not a baby anymore.
exactly,
Tim.
you're okay.
What?
Can we talk about season 2 of Voltron for a second?
What about season 2 of Voltron?
Season 2 of the original Voltron?
Yeah, you mean the car one?
I mean the vehicle Voltron, yeah.
Yeah, we don't count that one.
Why not?
Oh, what's that?
Because Voltron, we only discuss Voltron 3.
Hold on, I don't know
That's
about
the only
that. Tim,
Voltron
why
that
don't you
counts.
explain
I've
that
heard
one to
rumors
me?
of the car Voltron. I thought it was a ripoff.
So here's what happened. This is part of the history of Voltron. Is again, they asked for the one with the lions, and they did not get the one with the lions that they thought.
You got the one with the cars?
And there was only enough to make one season. So what they did was they imported another Japanese show that involved vehicles, land, air, and under the sea vehicles.
It was like
So
15
there was
vehicles.
Was it
There was
armored
15
fleet?
vehicles that made up this other Voltron, and
Yeah.
so the whole idea was in the original. The real Voltron, Voltron 3, and I'll explain that in a second. In Voltron 3, it was Earth explorers that were out there, and they had discovered Voltron, and then they were defending planet Eris. So back in Earth, there was the garrison. Is that what they called them? The garrison conference. Like, it was the conference of
Yeah.
people who were
Yeah.
in charge of space exploration. But essentially, they would cut back to the garrison conference, which was from a whole different anime, by the way. They just put it back there so it all made sense
Third
and
show.
tied it together. But so what they decided was when they were done with the lion footage, they would move on to this other footage, and that Voltron would be Voltron 2. Am I remembering that correctly? Voltron 1, sorry. And the reason why it was 1, 2, and 3 was because it was the distance in proximity to Earth. So the Lion Voltron, which is why it was the coolest, it was the farthest away from Earth, that was the third level of Voltron. So that they basically created a Voltron that was closer here to Earth to defend Earth and its surrounding planets. Now, it didn't do so well because it didn't have lions. So they were initially going to do Voltron 2, which was a gladiator Voltron, but they decided not to go through it because Voltron 1 didn't do so well. So instead, they actually commissioned the anime studio in Japan to make more footage, and they did a 1-hour TV special of the real Voltron, Voltron 3, that was probably the coolest part of the whole Voltron series, because it was a original, awesome, we'll call it a movie. It was an hour of TV show, so a little mini movie, and that's the real story of Voltron. So there's real Voltron, there's the vehicle Voltron, which we ignore because it doesn't matter, and then there was real Voltron again, and they should have just kept continuing on with real Voltron, but people are stupid, so they didn't.
You think that Vehicle Voltron failed not because it had 15 main characters and then support staff, but because it didn't have lions?
Well,
That was the
it
thing.
wasn't so
Yeah.
much. It wasn't so much that it didn't have lions. That was part of it, because lions are cooler than vehicles. Let's be serious. But and Kevin and I have talked about this recently when we were talking about Zelda. I am fascinated by concepts that involve technology and magic. So like mystical lore and technology,
Power
when
Rangers?
they
Okay.
become
Force?
one.
Yeah, Power Rangers
it's
Mystic
very
Force.
cool.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Yeah, but for babies. Star Wars for adults. Zelda for
old
adults,
people?
things like
Okay.
that. So what you did with the vehicle Voltron is they created the Voltron. So you took the mystic aspect out of it. Plus, there was too many main characters, so there was several flaws with it. But the lions, the mystic, the castle. There was a castle. There was a backstory. There was this lore, and there was a witch, and all this kind of stuff, which just made it way cooler than Vehicle Voltron, which we ignore.
So it's He-Man, Robotech, and something else combined into one.
I'm sold. I want to see He-Man versus Robotech now. I think that's going to be the best movie of 2019.
Though that'll
He-Man
get a movie
was awesome.
before Voltron. Yeah.
No, so you listen. I grew up loving He-Man as well, so that was my age range. But here's what separates when we talk about growing up and maturing. I've tried to go back and watch He-Man. Don't like it. I've gone back and watched Voltron. Really enjoy it. He-Man was a money grab. They created the toys first.
Yeah, same thing with Transformers.
Yeah, just like G.I. Joe.
There was no He-Man cartoon. They commissioned a company to make toys, and they created a cartoon around that. And I think that He-Man could be a cool story. So I've always resented that He-Man movie that they made that had Monica and Monica's mom from Friends in it.
Oh God.
And I've always resented that because I think they could make a super amazing He-Man movie. That is a cool story concept. If they wanted to do a really good job with it, get the right guy to play He-Man, get a cool, linear story to it, that could be an amazing movie. But I don't go back and I don't enjoy the cartoon. I do enjoy the Voltron cartoon because it's awesome.
So, Alex, thoughts on all this? What kind of makes you gravitate towards Power Rangers over everything, I guess?
Well, pretty much I grew up with it. It was always the first show that I had memories of. It just had so many fond memories, and I've actually followed pretty much throughout the whole series. I did take breaks, obviously, while I was going through high school and stuff, and then eventually Netflix came out and just got bored a couple nights and I started watching all through all the seasons. I stopped watching it after Super Mega Force. It was the 25th year anniversary or something like that. And that was actually a really cool series. The Super Sentai series part was a lot cooler, in my opinion. Basically, they had these keys. They were able to tap into the morphing grid and become past Rangers. So, if the red Super Mega Force Ranger was in trouble, he was like, I'm going to use the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger power and become basically Jason and have all his powers. And it was just super cool. They had access to legendary Zords. I will say the acting in the American version was pretty rough. It wasn't. They kind of moved away from teaching life lessons. I will say that.
Yeah, because I was the main thing that I got from the life lesson sort of thing was because I think I was watching Time Force, or no, not Time Force, In Space, Power Rangers in Space.
Yeah,
that was one of the earlier ones. I think season 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah,
but they do drill home the whole idea of friendship, and you can't do everything alone because some of the characters are like, I want to work whatever alone, and they need this team to make this whole thing work and to save the planet. And really, the entire episode, they're just drilling that whole idea. Keep going. Yeah, it was a little difficult to watch over again. And I started watching the Power Rangers Dino Supercharge, which is the latest ones on Netflix, because they have all of the Power Rangers, all of them on Netflix, so you can watch whichever iteration you like. But and they have a new one out called Ninja Steel that's out right now on Nickelodeon. But Dino Supercharge and Dino Charge are the ones that are the latest ones that are out. The latest seasons, 2016, and it does look, visually it looks a lot better. They're using probably 4K cameras, 4K cameras that make it look really nice. And there are a lot of Rangers, and it is sort of cheesy still, but again, I don't think it's for me. It's not geared towards me. It's geared towards these kids that need to look for something and sort of like a guidance. And it drills it home more, these good aspects and good teachings, more than Voltron does. And it's a lot easier to pick up than Voltron. So yeah, I guess I'm voting for both, but Power Rangers does have 24 seasons, have a whole huge Mighty Morphicon, I think is what it's called. These huge cons all around the world that have been people go to that have been touched by a series or all the series of Power Rangers and grew up with it, and now the movie, and it's just a huge phenomenon in that way.
Yeah, there was also this event in the Super Megaforce series where there's a legendary war. Basically, like the evil alien brings his armada, and they bring back like a bunch of past Rangers. Like Tommy comes back, the Turbo Rangers come back, or a couple of them. SPD comes back. Like they bring up all these cool people, and they're supposed to go through a fight series, which they do in the Super Sentai series, but they don't really do that in the American, which is really a disappointment. But in that episode, like all the Megazords come together and like shoot the giant alien. It was really cool, but unfortunately we didn't get that. It's geared towards this new audience, but at the same time they wanted to make this event super fun for the people that have been following for all these years.
Definitely.
I'm going to summarize real quick. Alex admitted he likes Power Rangers because nostalgia.
That's what he said, yeah?
Then Jules admitted it's a children's TV show.
I said it's geared for children.
And that was my premise from the beginning, so I consider this a victory.
I wasn't looking to
Thank
win.
you all
I wasn't.
for
I was
listening.
just, the people that like Power Rangers like it, and if you're getting into it now, just go for the movie.
Attention listeners,
Go for the movie.
if you are 5 years old, we welcome you to the podcast. We encourage you not to listen because we use F words occasionally, and you would like Power Rangers. If you are an adult, you will not like Power Rangers, and thank you for listening to the podcast.
In one of the
Voltron's
previews
awesome.
to right before Power Rangers, I think somebody said like bitch or like fuck, and I was like, oh shit! I was like, whoa, there's a lot of kids in here, and they're just throwing that preview in here. I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So I'm sure they know.
We were a different generation of kids. I mean, like in the new movie, like they show Kimberly in her bra and panties, and I'm like, if like 6-year-old Alex had seen Kimberly, like his Kimberly in that, he would have like lost his mind. But these kids nowadays are just so desensitized.
The best part about the original Power Rangers was that Pink Ranger. What was her name? Something Joe?
Yeah,
Amy Jo Johnson. Yeah.
Amy Jo Johnson was hot. That was the best part of the whole show. The only thing I knew about the show.
I mean, I don't remember her name.
She was on Felicity, so...
I mean, I did watch the mega battle that you were just talking about in preparation for this podcast. I haven't watched Power Rangers since apparently season 1 because I had no idea about really any of that, and prior to this week didn't even know it was still on TV.
Oh yeah.
It's owned by Nick.
But holy shit, that battle was confusing, and I have to tell you, it really, really, really feels like they just have no idea what they can and cannot do and could destroy the world, but just don't know that and don't want to, because every time they had a problem, they'd just be like, oh, let's just add 17 more robots to the battle. And I get that the message is they don't escalate the battle, but shit, man, people die. Like, there's no way you're going to tell me no one on Earth died in that Armada attack.
But they don't show
you
that.
Can just bring in. They don't. They show buildings blowing up and people living in rubble and sleeping in
even the Power
they
Rangers
don't go
at
for
one
shelter.
point are
They
like,
just
they just got their butt kicked and they're just like, well, we're gonna sit around this fire underneath the bridge. And
we're done now. We're just gonna. I'm homeless. I guess I'm gonna eat this rat. But they call in like you said, 20 something years worth of Power Rangers to come in, and for some reason the Green Ranger is there, even though he lost his powers in the first season and became the White Ranger, then the Red Ranger, then the Black Ranger?
Black Ranger,
then
Dino
the
Thunder.
Red Ranger again, and then the Black Ranger. Yeah.
Right. So he's been 4 different colors, and they went with the one that has no power left. It just seems a little like they were, doing the whole money grab. Like, people know him as Tommy the Green Ranger because everyone's seen the first season, and really only small children after that have seen every other subsequent season.
Dino Thunder wasn't bad, I don't think.
Well, they brought him back on Dino Thunder specifically to get the series started again, because at that point it was failing, and there was an entire episode where he was fighting his past versions of himself in order to become he had lost his body or turned invisible or something like that, and in order to rematerialize, he had to fight his older self. So he had to fight the Green Ranger, the White Ranger, and then the Red Zeo Ranger. And
you know what? I concede that makes total sense.
it was mystical and magical.
He just became invisible.
It's a magical.
Mixed with science.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But you're not. I mean, for the people
Once again, to summarize, Power Rangers is for babies.
For the people that like it,
Voltron's as good as
and for the people
penicillin.
that Well,
There
that
we
was
go.
self-proclaimed. That was not a fact at all. That was something you brought to the table. But
That's Tim's conspiracy theory.
yeah, Tim's
I left
conspiracy.
my sandwich out, and it turned into Voltron.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's literally how good Voltron is.
That's amazing.
But but for the people that do like Power Rangers, you can't shake them. It's kind of like a religion now, where it's like, well, you can prove all this other stuff, but to the people that did grow up with it and the people that are deep in it, it's like, yeah, but Power Rangers, and that's pretty much it. And it's been going on for so long, and it has all these. We could talk about Megazords and the money thing and their cool guns, upgrades, and all that stuff, but really it's just gonna keep going, and I don't know if it can stop or if anybody has the means to stop it.
I mean, it's still going.
God,
Like
I
it's
hope so.
it's competitors like Beetleborgs that lasted like what?
I watched an
Dude.
episode or two of Beetleborgs in preparation for this, and
Oh, God.
wow, that was not good.
Yeah, I only remember like slightly of it, and I was just like, all right, cool. This made no sense.
Yeah, it was not good.
That didn't make sense. Power
so-
Ranger makes complete sense.
So what I'm hearing from you guys, just to summarize, and this isn't going to be like Tim's summaries. So what I'm hearing is that you have deeply held beliefs, that the evidence is things that you are putting forward, that no matter what other evidence we come up with, we're not going to shake you from this belief. So this is either a religion or a conspiracy theory, and I'm not sure I'm comfortable with either.
See, look, Power Rangers in conspiracy theories, same episode. Is that a coincidence? No.
No, we planned that.
Yeah,
Power Rangers is a vehicle of the
yeah.
Illuminati.
There you go. Mic drop.
And
And Krispy Kreme
as his
donuts.
vehicle Voltron.
Yeah, and Krispy Kreme.
Yes, exactly, which is why we ignore it.
Oh god. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, Tim, you can say you won.
So this isn't a fight either one's going to win.
No,
This is a fight we're going to have to put out there for other people
sure.
to give us their opinions.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
go ahead and tweet us or Facebook message or slide into our DMs at nerdythingspod, at nerdythingspod. Which one do you like better? Which one are you a fan of? Or if you are a fan of both or a fan of neither, whatever, tell us your hate. Tell us how much you hate us, how much we got everything wrong, and how
We
much
thrive
Tim's
on
wrong.
your hate. Send it.
Yeah,
Send it
please.
all.
I have given the definitive answer, so all of you listeners, feel free to expound upon my brilliant theories. That's
Fantastic.
perfectly
Please tell
fine
us how
with
much you
me.
hate
Yes.
Tim. Okay. So yeah, I mean, cool. I mean, I'm still gonna watch both. I've been watching Dino Supercharge, and I've been watching Voltron Legendary Defender. I'm gonna keep watching both. I mean, they're both pretty cool to me, I guess. But you can definitely
They
tell.
both have their points. I did enjoy the Power Rangers movie. I've really enjoyed the Voltron on Netflix. I think they have their places.
Very cool. So, Alex, do you want to tell a cool story about your tattoo, or my tattoo as well? But what happened? It's Power Rangers related, I promise.
Yeah. Okay. So about 3 years ago.
Was it 3 years already?
It was 2014.
Okay.
So it was like,
Oof.
yeah. Me and Jules, we went to the tattoo place. We're just like, we just gotten tax refunds, or we had a free paycheck or something.
Yeah.
And we're just like, you want to go get tattoos today? Because we worked early in the morning, and it was like noon when we got off. And we're like, yeah, let's go get tattoos.
Yeah, there was this really cool tattoo artist that I had saw I think on Instagram or something, and then he was going to be here in our town, and I was just like, hey, let's go get tattoos, whatever.
Yeah. So so we go, and then we start talking to the guy. And I tell him like, yeah, I want to get this. I got the green dragon dagger, right? And I was like, yeah, can I get this? And he's like, wait, you're talking about the Green Power Ranger, right, from the original Mighty Morphin? He's like, you're talking about Jason David Frank? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I actually do tattoos for that guy. I was like, yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
Wait,
Really?
what? He's like, yeah, I've actually been in his house. Like, I've seen it. He has it, like, on his wall and stuff. I'm like, huh. Because the tattoo
That's
artist is
awesome.
from Louisiana.
Yeah.
And his name is James Clement.
Mhm.
That's right, yep. So shout out him. And then Jason David Frank lives in Houston. So it's not that far. So while he's designing the tattoo and everything, he shoots Jason David Frank a text and he says, hey, I got somebody here getting a Dragon Dagger tattoo. And when he does that, yeah, he's like,
That's
let me know
awesome.
how it turns out and all this stuff. And so after the tattoo's done, he sends Jason David Frank a picture, and he ends up throwing it on his social media. And
Which is super cool.
yeah, so Jason
that's
David Frank puts it on
great.
his social media. He sends me a message, or I'm the first person to comment, and I'm like, hey, that's me. That's really cool. He's like, hey, it looks great, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate the Green Ranger support and all this stuff. Jason David Frank is really involved in his fans. Like, he is holding on to this like Power Ranger legacy for as long as he can.
He's the guy.
Yeah,
he's the one.
Yeah, looking him up, most of his MMA promo photos seem to feature the green and white Power Ranger helmets in some way on all of them.
And all of his tattoos. His immense tattoo artwork.
Yeah, he is completely tatted now. He has to like sit through like hours of makeup if he wants to appear on Power Rangers. Like they have to cover everything.
Or they can just put him in spandex.
Yeah, there you go.
Dude, because it's funny. So I don't remember what the final total was on like how many likes and stuff, but it was pretty insane. Probably the most like unreal moment of my life.
Yeah, that was pretty cool and very random. We didn't know that was didn't know that was the guy.
Yeah, it was funny because I was having like a super bad week, and then it just like turned around completely.
That'll turn it around.
Having your childhood hero just like, hey, I acknowledge you.
Yeah,
it was so funny.
Very cool. Like we said, go ahead and talk to us. Tell us what you thought about Power Rangers Voltron. If you're watching the new I was going to combine their names. How will we combine their names? Powertron? If you're hashtag Powertron, hashtag NerdyCast and all that. Whatever. So what are we going to do for next week? I have an idea. Have y'all thought about it? What you want for next week?
I got nothing. What do you got for next week, Jules?
What I really wanted to watch, which also coming out on Friday, is the Ghost in the Shell movie. And I haven't really seen the whole anime or like know the whole lore or anything. And I thought maybe we can watch some of the anime because we haven't hit or touched anime very much on this. And maybe that could be a good thing. And we can go watch the movie. I know there's like a movie, maybe anime movie of Ghost in the Shell, or watch as much as you can and the movie, and we can chat about that. That's my one idea. I don't know if anybody else has any other ideas.
I'm fine to do a Ghost in the Shell episode if you want to. Kevin, you won't be able to see it on Monday.
If you want to do it, I can sneak it in. I'll make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with it. If it's in our movie theater at work.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Huh, okay. Looks like Ghost in the Shell.
Well, we could stick with the Ghost in the Shell, and then if we come up with a better idea in between now and then, or a different idea or a supplemental idea, you can we'll announce it on all of the nerdy things on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram and whatnot. You will be the first to hear it if you're a devoted listener and follower, that we have a better topic for next week. But I think Ghost in the Shell will be fine. It's a movie coming out, got Scarlett Johansson in it. No reason not to talk about that one.
Nope, no downside.
I'd like to thank Adipsia for the use of his song Friends Don't Let Friends Go to TGI Fridays. You can hear more of his music on adipsia.bandcamp.com. He just released a new album called The Stoic that everyone should check out. And I would like to thank our guest this week, Alex, for being on the podcast. And
thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Cool. So yeah, bye everybody. Bye. See y'all.
Bye.
Peace.